You slide out of your mother onto her back, somewhere in South America. Your eyes are barely open, and you can't see much, but your claws grip into her thick fur and lock in place. Then, your mother stands and starts walking, and you feel her body shift beneath you with each step. You need to hold on or you'll fall, so you press your claws in deeper and flatten yourself against her. She moves through tall grass that brushes against your side, and the rhythm of her walking rocks you back and forth. You adjust your grip every few seconds, trying to stay balanced while she keeps moving forward without slowing down. That's when another anteater appears ahead, blocking her path. It's a male, and he steps closer with his head low and his claws scraping the ground. Your mother stops walking. Then, she rears up on her hind legs with you still clinging to her back, and you grip even tighter to avoid sliding off. She slashes her claws forward in a wide arc, and the male steps back and watches her. She slashes again, this time closer to his face, and he turns and walks away into the grass without looking back. Your mother drops back down onto all fours, and the sudden movement almost shakes you loose, but your claws hold, and after a moment she starts walking again like nothing happened. You don't know how long you'll need to stay like this, but right now you can't survive anywhere else. Your claws aren't strong enough to dig, and your legs can't hold your weight for more than a few seconds. So you hold on and your mother keeps walking. You're 3 weeks old now, and you're still riding on your mother's back everywhere she goes. She stops at a termite mound and starts tearing into it with her claws, ripping chunks of dried mud away and exposing the tunnels inside. Then, she pushes her long tongue into the holes over and over, pulling it back covered in termites each time before swallowing and going again. You watch from her back as she moves to another mound a few steps away. This time you need to try it yourself, so you slide down her side and land on the ground beside her. Your legs wobble, but they hold, so you move toward the mound and raise your front claws. You try to dig into the surface like she did, but your claws just scrape across the mud without breaking through. You try again, pushing harder, but nothing happens. That's when termites start coming out of the holes your mother made. Some of them are soldiers, and they move straight toward you with their jaws open. They reach your paws and start biting, then more climb onto your face and latch on. You shake your head trying to knock them off, but they don't let go. So you turn and scramble back toward your mother, climbing up her leg and onto her back again while shaking your paws. She keeps feeding like nothing happened, her tongue moving in and out of the mound while you stay pressed against her. You stop shaking after a while and just watch her work, seeing how her claws break through and how her tongue moves. Your claws aren't strong enough yet to tear through the mounds, but they're growing every day, and eventually they'll be long enough to dig like hers. You're 3 months old now, and your claws have grown long enough to use. You're still riding on your mother's back when she stops at a fallen log covered in ants, and she starts tearing pieces away with her claws. This time, when she begins feeding, you need to try again, so you slide down and land beside the log on your own. You dig your claws into the rotting wood and pull, and the soft material breaks apart easily, exposing the ants inside. They start pouring out of the gap you made, so you push your tongue into the opening and pull it back with ants stuck to it. You swallow and do it again, and it works. That's your first real meal that you caught on your own. You keep feeding until the wood is torn apart and the ants stop coming out. Then you step back and look at what's left. But then, something moves in the grass nearby. A coyote comes out and walks toward the log with its nose low, trying to get closer to where you're standing. It wants the same food, so it keeps moving forward until it's only a few steps away. Your mother sees it and charges straight at it with her claws raised high. The coyote stops and watches her coming, then turns and runs back into the grass before she reaches it. She stops at the edge and watches it disappear, then walks back to the log and starts feeding again like nothing happened. You climb back onto her back and hold on while she finishes eating. You can feed yourself now, and your claws work the way they're supposed to. But you're not strong enough yet to fight off something that wants your food. Your mother still protects you from threats you can't handle, and without her, you wouldn't survive. Skip forward a bit, and you're 9 months old now. You're walking beside your mother instead of riding on her back, and she stops at a large termite mound and starts tearing it open. You need to feed too, so you move to a different mound, several steps away, and start digging into it with your claws. The termites come pouring out and you push your tongue inside, pulling it back covered in them before swallowing and going again. You keep feeding for a while, focused on the mound in front of you. Then, you hear something moving through the grass behind you. You turn and see a jaguar coming out of the grass with its body low to the ground, walking straight toward you. It's close enough that you can see its eyes locked on you, so you rear up on your hind legs like your mother taught you and slash your claws forward through the air. The jaguar stops and watches you, then starts moving to the side, trying to circle around you. You turn to keep facing it with your claws still raised, and it keeps circling slowly without looking away. But then, your mother appears beside you and rears up on her hind legs too. She's much bigger than you, and her claws are longer, so when she slashes forward, the jaguar takes a step back. It looks at both of you standing together, then turns and walks away into the grass without running. You stay on your hind legs until it's gone, then drop back down. Your mother drops down too and walks back to her mound, and you return to yours and start feeding again. Your claws made the jaguar stop, and that's the first time they've actually worked against something dangerous. But you're not strong enough to face a predator alone, not yet. Your mother's size is what made it leave. You're 1 year old now, and something has changed. You try to walk toward your mother like you've done every day since you were born, but she turns and swipes at you with her claws. They don't hit hard enough to hurt you, but they push you back and make you stop moving. You try again, stepping closer to follow her, but she charges at you with her claws raised, so you turn and run in the other direction. You stop after a few steps and look back, but she's already walking away through the grass without turning around. You watch her get smaller until she disappears completely, and then you're standing alone. You need to find food now, so you start walking in a different direction from where she went. After a while, you find a small colony of ants under a rock and tear into it with your claws, feeding until they're gone. Your stomach still feels empty, so you keep walking and search for another mound or log. But you don't find anything for hours. Eventually, you find a termite mound and break it open, feeding until the termites stop coming out. This time, your stomach feels full enough, but it took most of the day to find it. You're on your own now, and your mother isn't coming back to protect you or show you where to find food. You'll need to search for it yourself every day, and if you can't find enough, you won't survive. You're 2 years old now, and you've been feeding at the same termite mound for weeks. Today, you return and start tearing into it with your claws. That's when another anteater comes out of the grass and walks toward the mound. It's smaller than you and younger, but it moves straight to the other side and starts digging into the same mound you're feeding from. You need to protect this food source, so you stop eating and walk around to where it's standing. You swipe at it with your claws extended, and it sees you coming and rears up on its hind legs. So you rear up too, and both of you start slashing at each other with your front claws cutting through the air. Your claws connect with its shoulder and leave a deep scratch across its side, making it drop back down onto all fours. Then it turns and runs into the grass without looking back. You drop down and watch it disappear, then walk back to the mound and start feeding again. That's the first time you've defended something that belongs to you, and you won. This mound is in your territory now, and you'll keep coming back to it until there's nothing left. But eventually, something bigger than you will show up and try to take it. Skip forward a bit, and you're 4 years old now. You're walking through the grass when you pick up a trail, so you follow it for a while until you find a female anteater feeding at a fallen tree. She notices you but doesn't move away or raise her claws, so you walk toward her slowly. She stays still and keeps feeding while you get closer, and when you're beside her, she doesn't react. So you move in and mate with her, and the process is quick and simple. Then, she turns and starts walking away through the grass in one direction without stopping or looking back. You watch her leave until she disappears, then you turn and walk in the opposite direction. You'll never see her again, and you won't see any offspring that might come from this. There's no bond between you, and there's no reason to stay together. She'll raise the young on her own if there are any, and you'll keep moving through your territory alone like you always have. After a while, you find a termite mound and start feeding. Your life continues the same way it did before you mated, and nothing about your routine changes. You still search for food every day, and you still defend your territory when another anteater tries to take it. You'll keep walking through the same areas, tearing open the same mounds, and sleeping in the same spots. And if you encounter another female in the future, the same thing will happen again. But for now, you're alone, and that's how you'll stay. You're 7 years old now, and you're feeding at a termite mound like you've done thousands of times before. Your tongue moves in and out of the holes, pulling termites back into your mouth with each motion. You're deep into the mound with your claws still buried in the mud, focused on the food in front of you. Then, you hear something moving through the grass behind you. But you don't stop feeding. You've scared off threats before by rearing up and slashing your claws, so you keep your tongue working while the sound gets closer. But this time, a puma rushes out of the grass faster than anything you've faced before. You pull your head back and rear up on your hind legs with your claws raised high, then slash forward trying to hit it. But the puma drops low and moves under your strike before you can adjust, and it clamps its jaws onto your throat before you can swing again. You try to slash at its body with your claws, but your movements start getting slower and weaker with each attempt. Your legs stop holding your weight properly, so you drop back down onto all fours and then tip sideways. You hit the ground and stay there while your legs stop moving completely. The puma keeps its grip on your throat for a while longer, then lets go and starts dragging your body through the grass away from the mound. It pulls you into a thicker section where the grass is tall enough to hide you completely, then stops. You defended yourself the same way you always had, by rearing up and using your claws to drive threats away. It worked against other anteaters, and it made the jaguar leave when your mother stood beside you. But this time, the puma was faster than you expected, and it got under your defense before you could stop it. Your claws were strong enough to protect you for 7 years, but this time, they weren't enough.